What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to ForTheFans, the 30th of November 2015. In today's show, we relaunch the Charlie Austin appeal, we talk about Jamie Vardy's goal-scoring run, and of course, as always, we have another one of Ben's very special features. Let's get into the show.
Hello there, listeners. Episode 14 of For The Fans show, and as ever, it's me, Ben, and I'm joined by Jack and Callum. In that order, say hello.
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 Last week we made a mess of that, so I figured we'd construct it better this week. So, hi gentlemen, how are you? How's your week been? Again, in that order.
I'm pretty decent. I'm delighted to know that Callum isn't going to be with us for the next 2 weeks following the show, and then it's Christmas, I think.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
are we doing
it's
a Christmas
isn't it, when
special?
this show goes up on YouTube.
you could say Christmas has come early, or some people might.
Yeah. I'm not sure many would.
No.
But, you know, hopefully there's one or two out there that have gone, ooh, what a lovely early gift. Anyway, let's not faff around any longer. Everyone's waiting for this week's feature. And boys, this week, I've got a jingle. Don't say anything because you'll ruin the back audio. Ready for this? Oh, it's Ben's feature of the week. And this week, tell him when to stop. Oh, what do you make of that?
Ooh.
Tell him when to stop.
I mean, how much of our budget's gone on that?
Too much. I mean, there won't be a Christmas party, I'll tell you that much.
We're not getting it back.
So, what we're doing this week, gentlemen, is I'm going to reveal... It's a head-to-head. Can I get an ooh?
Ooh.
Very well done. Yeah, it's a head-to-head.
Sorry, let me put in more effort.
No, it was good the first time. Now it seems unnatural. Now it seems like you forced it.
Yeah.
So...
I have.
I've got 20 players here. And I'm going to give you information about them. The first person to know who I'm talking about wins.
I'm almost 90% certain we've had this before.
Repeat features?
No. This is different because I can't remember the first time. Right. So usually I say who would like to go first, but actually, boys, fingers on the buzzers. To buzz in. Actually, shall we create buzzers for both of you?
No, I think that'll be bad audio if we do that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, we'll start with this professional footballer. Can we get time on the clock, please?
Do we get one guess, then it gets passed on to the other person? Is that how it works?
You get one guess.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's an unlimited amount of clues until it gets ridiculous. So clue number 1: my middle name is Colin. Anyone want to go in on that one?
No.
Okay.
I think of a lot of footballers with the middle name Colin.
I am an English striker. I should clarify, all these players play in the Premier League.
Stop.
Right now. Oh my word, he's gone in.
Wait, do we only get one or not?
Yes.
Oh,
you
okay,
said
sorry.
stop now.
No,
You've committed.
He said stop. English striker.
No, I didn't hear that bit.
Callum, come on. You've got to say it now.
Okay,
I'm a stickler for the rules.
I'll have to forfeit this first one then. I will go...
English striker, come on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'll go with Jamie Vardy.
Incorrect. Man of the moment, Jamie Vardy. Jack, I'm going to give you
Jamie
2 more
Collins
clues, mate.
Vardy.
Okay,
2 more clues. Is that the thing that we're doing then? Like, if someone gets it wrong, 2 more. Okay.
I have played for 2 London clubs. In the Premier League, to clarify.
Okay.
I currently play in the North East.
And your name's Colin.
Oh, I know this.
English
Middle name's
striker.
Colin.
Oh, that's so annoying. Why did you do that, Callum?
I love how you showed an internal argument with
5, 4,
Who is
3, 2.
Jermaine Defoe?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Point to Jack. Well done.
Can I just
Jermaine
say,
Defoe
I
is the
was so
correct
close to
answer.
saying Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah,
I don't know why, you're already Scottish.
The Scottish striker.
I got it right in the end.
Next player. I was born in Sheffield.
I mean, that narrows it down.
I started my career at Sheffield United. No one wants in. I am a right back.
I'm not interested.
Holy moly.
One more clue might do this for me. Go on.
I am 25 years of age.
Oh, no. Now I've been thrown off.
I am an England international.
Stop.
Jack.
Klein.
Incorrect.
Kyle Walker.
Correct.
Yes. I couldn't believe he was 25. That was what threw me.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought English right backs.
Did you think he was older, Callum?
Around 25.
No, I thought he was still a bit younger than that, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, fair enough.
I feel like he's been around forever. Like, he's that player who everyone's been like, England's next right back.
He does seem always like the evergreen young prospect, but okay.
Okay, next player. I am 6'4".
Stop.
If Jack gets this
Peter
purely
Crouch.
on height, he's not 6'4".
He's about 6'6".
Sorry, I meant Andy Carroll.
Which neither are correct. Okay,
Damn it.
Callum, 2 more clues. I have played for England. 6'4" Englishman.
You didn't say his position, did you, at first?
I didn't say his position, no.
I think I know who it is now.
No.
If Keto doesn't get it after the second clue, can I just call him?
My first name is John.
Yeah, I knew it.
Terry?
The correct answer is John Ruddy.
Oh.
No points. Jack knew that, didn't you?
I thought it was John Terry. I thought that was that. That's the nail in the coffin, isn't it?
You thought Kiddo was right.
How tall is John Terry? I thought like John Terry was 6'4" as well.
Next player. Ready, boys?
Yeah.
My first name is Timothy.
Can it be managers?
I'm just telling you my first name is Timothy.
Hold on, Ben. Are all these players English or not?
Not necessarily.
Oh, they're just Premier League footballers.
Yeah, they're just Premier League footballers. My first name is Timothy. No one wants it? Okay.
No.
I have appeared at a World Cup final.
Tim Cahill.
In the World Cup finals, I should say.
Timothy Cahill.
Incorrect.
Oh,
is it current Premier League players? Or
yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's you've looked like a book now, don't you, Callum?
I specified this before. Listen back.
Right. Okay. So 2 more clues. I'll take.
Jack, just take it now, mate.
Well, I am 6'4".
Oh no, I'm kicking myself.
Oh, it's that guy Tim Ruddy, isn't it?
I know what I've done.
One
Ready?
more.
Ready for the final clue?
I still don't know who it is at this point.
I am a penalty specialist.
Jack, how do you not know who this is?
It's going to be something really obvious.
How many players are called Timothy?
5, 4, 3.
I don't know.
2,
I'm having it now,
1.
Ben. Tim fucking
Tim
Howard.
Sherwood.
The correct answer is Tim Krul.
Oh my god! Oh no! Right, okay, edit that bit out.
How many Tims are there in the Premier League?
Edit
The
that bit
correct
out.
answer is Tim Krul.
I feel like what you've done there is upstage me saying Tim Sherwood by having
Oh,
a go
I could have
at me and
done.
saying Tim
That
Howard.
didn't occur to me actually.
Not current Premier League though. I do want to chip in because I thought there's a moment there where Jack could act quite foolish. I'll tell you what, I prepared 20 of these. We're only doing 10. Good grief.
We'll do 10 at the end if we have time. Which we won't.
as a special
We
extra.
always overrun.
Okay. I was born in Harlem.
Stop.
Jack.
Tim Howard.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
No.
I play.
What Premier League American players are
I
there?
play for Southampton.
Right.
Well, that makes me feel better now. You've only got one more clue.
Can you specify Harlem, New York?
No, I can't, Callum. I'm afraid not.
That's okay.
To be fair, I got Jack to guess on the first attempt on his own American player he knew.
I feel like I scared Jack with mine.
I am a defensive midfielder.
Plays for Southampton.
But I'm a midfielder, yeah. You would have had an extra clue, obviously, but Jack's ruined it for everyone.
Plays for Southampton, born in Harlem, defensive midfielder.
I think I know it now.
I mean, there's a few. I'm tempted to say someone on slightly left field, but...
Yeah. He's not... I wouldn't say he's... I'm going to specify a little bit. He's not, like, strictly defensive, but he's more defensive than offensive, I would say. Which is a bit of a help, actually.
I mean, that's free.
Maybe Wanyama?
No, the correct answer is Harlem in the Netherlands.
Ah, I see.
So the correct answer is Geordie Classy.
Classy, yeah.
No points.
That was a top classy question.
See, I thought you might be onto something with Harlem, but I wasn't.
Okay. I started my career at Rangers. Professional career, I should clarify. Did have a youth career as well, but professional career at Rangers.
Rangers, Scottish Rangers?
Yes. I will clarify
Rangers?
that. Okay. What other Rangers are there?
Queen's Park.
Does that really count? You wouldn't
no,
call
not
them
really.
Rangers, would you?
I have played in the Premier League for 2 different clubs.
Ooh, I don't want to. Go on, keep going.
I have won the Capital One Cup.
Well, that narrows it down.
Mr. Alan Hutton.
Incorrect.
No, he won it with Spurs though. Didn't he?
I was at the game.
Is that the clue?
Yes.
Oh, Stephen
were-
Whittaker.
That's another
When
one.
has Stephen Whittaker won the
won the
Capital One
Capital
Cup?
Don't know. Don't know. I mean, I've got one more clue as well, haven't I?
Jack. I've only been to one. It was Liverpool versus Cardiff. I am a Scottish player that's played for 2, actually 3 Premier League clubs.
Charlie Adam, isn't it?
It is Charlie Adam.
Okay.
So because
I screwed the clues, but we'll say no.
Right,
one gets a point.
we'll do an extra one now. So we
I
have
lose a
11.
point. Oh, okay.
feel like
How long have we
mine-
been going for? I feel like we've been going for a long time. Jesus, wept.
Not long
Have you seen
enough.
the time?
No, one
Right.
more.
Not long enough.
Okay. I play in London.
Is the accent a clue?
No, well, I mean, I was just trying to act southern.
Act south.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I am
We
20.
just discuss how Keno goes really quiet when you read them
Yeah,
out. There's no
he likes
banter.
it,
He's just
yeah.
concentrating.
Yeah.
I began my professional career at Midtjylland, which is the Danish team.
Ooh, okay.
Midtjylland.
Interesting.
I'm a-
Stop.
Jack?
Corey.
Incorrect.
He doesn't play in. Oh goodness me.
Oh yeah, he left, didn't he?
Oh, well,
do
no,
you
but he
mean?
doesn't play in London either, Jack. Because
Oh, I forgot about that clue.
I am from New Zealand.
we'll be getting reviews about our
I'm crying.
geography.
I am from New Zealand.
Winston Reid.
Correct answer.
Yes.
dear.
Right, I'm taking the trophy and running. That'll
Stephen Whittaker. Right.
It's not been my finest down in it.
That was a great answer. That was one of the best answers you've had so far. Okay.
What are the scores on the doors?
Callum's got 2, you've got 1. 4 have not been guessed, which is a shame.
So no own goals winning, basically. You know how like they have the top goal
Yeah,
scorers
true.
in various leagues.
I have played for Ajax and Borussia Dortmund. I did not know that. That's a great clue.
Which bit?
Just the fact he's played for Ajax and Borussia Dortmund.
Okay.
I am 5'7".
Ooh. That's thrown a spanner in the works. I had a good idea.
The Premier League club that I'm currently at, I've been at over 2 spells.
Oh, and that has also thrown a spanner in the works. I had a really.
What was your
Great
answer
feature.
before that?
It's
What was your
technically-
call before
technically
that?
3. So it's,
I mean, do you want to know
4 spells?
Do you want me to
but that's
explain
very
my
confusing.
thinking?
Sure.
Thomas Rositzky's had a time at Dortmund, and I don't know if he's played for Ajax, but that was my first thought. But continue.
He's actually spent 4 separate times if you've been very pernickety, but
Because he's like had his loan renewed. or
Oh,
something.
okay.
yeah, it's true. I have appeared at a World Cup finals in my home country.
Oh, I
That's
like
a
these
great
clues,
clue.
Ben. Actually, they're very good.
Thank you. Good feature.
It's about the first time
Is this
I've ever
one
complimented
German?
your feature, but I do like it.
Should we play the jingle again?
I know who it is. Stephen Pienaar.
Correct.
Oh, well played, Jack.
what a
Stephen
shout.
Pienaar is the correct answer.
That's
Right, then
really
good. We'll have to do a decider then.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like we're at that point where we've all lost the will to live.
Bad light stops playing.
I
after
might
this
think
one,
people are
that's
playing
over.
this at home. To be fair, I'd like to think they're playing this at home.
I was sat there thinking of recent
Okay.
World Cups and thinking
Clue
it's an
number
obscure
1.
one.
I am French.
Oh, well, that's nailed it. You know, lowered it, the kind of pool of players. I'm tempted to come in now, but I'm going
I
to
wear
wait.
number 29 for my club. No.
It's tense, isn't it? Ooh.
Nothing going.
I have been while playing in the Premier League. It has been at 3 separate London clubs. You folks, listeners, you can cut the tension with a knife.
It's very serious now, isn't it? It's not
Oh,
funny
I've
games.
I've done an error.
Oh no.
I was
next
born
one.
in France.
Was he?
Yes,
so-
I was
it's
born
not
in
she.
France.
So they're not French, whoever this person
So they're
is.
not necessarily French.
Well, can you confirm as to whether or not they are French?
They're not French, but they were born in France, hence my confusion. I should have known this, considering this player is quite well known. And really, after weeks of proving that your football knowledge is piss poor, you two, I've really made quite an error there. So I'd like to apologise to the people that are about to leave reviews.
Well, I mean, people are going to review Jack's geography knowledge.
Okay, this is a big clue. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
I have shit hair.
Marwan Shamak?
Correct. Yeah. Callum Keane takes the points.
What?
It wasn't.
I mean, shit hair is subjective.
Oh, come on.
It took me about what...
If I'm giving Callum a clue there and he's immediately in with Nahar and Shamak, I feel like the shit hair comment is entirely justified.
I wish there could have been like a sort of visualisation of my thought process, as like pictures of players flash through my mind.
Who did go through your mind? Can we take a quick step into the mind of Callum Keane? And who else did
I
pop
thought
up?
Fellaini, and then I was like, well, he's...
I did. Fellaini, I did actually consider because he's Belgian.
Fellaini did have a vision. There was an image of Fellaini.
Could have been born in France, shit hair. But yeah, no, Shamat was very early. Straight in there.
All right, fair enough. There we are then. And that's the end of this week's fantastic feature. I feel like I'll play I'll just play the jingle again. Let me just... Thank you for this week's Jingle of the Wheel, or Feature of the Week. Woo!
Jingle of the Wheel?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There we are.
Is the featuring that have we stolen that from the Wheel of Fortune? Is that what you're telling me?
No, it's great. It's a potential for the Salford City save I might be doing on YouTube. Unlikely to be used at this point, though.
YouTube.com/DrBenjiFM if you're not.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, YouTube.com/WorkTheSpace. Callum, anything you'd like to plug at this point in the podcast?
Twitter.com. No.
Twitter.com, no.
You've done very well with that website, let me say. Okay then, let's talk about some football. And there's only one place to start, gentlemen. Jack, your favourite player, Jamie Vardy, he's done it. He set a Premier League record of scoring for 11 games in a row. And he did so against Manchester United. Jack, we'll start with you. Are we saying he's alright now? Is he good? Or what do you reckon? Because you've been doubting him.
The assist was world class.
The assist has been underrated.
I know I could say that like really pedantically. It literally was one of the best passes of the season. A no-look pass by, I can't remember who it was now. It was the right back. It was
Christian Fuchs. No, it was the left back coming out from right back and slotting the ball in behind the defence. It was lovely.
Is that Fuchs who used to play for Wolfsburg?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I only know that through Football Manager, yeah. It was a crazy pass. I mean, it wasn't a bad finish, was it? I mean, is he good now? I still maintain it's the service he's getting, really. I think you could stick Charlie Austin up there and he'd get twice as many.
It's funny you should say that. I don't necessarily agree about Austin, but the way
what about the
Can I just say, can we not slag off Charlie Austin because it's getting very close to January and we will be forced to
talk about
I am relaunching the appeal in a few weeks.
You've ruined the end of the podcast already, Jack, because we were going to talk about that. But anyway, I think that the way that Vardy is scoring a lot of his goals owes a lot to like the way that Leicester play and how well players like Mahrez and Albrighton are playing. They're so direct. Like I said to you, I think while we were watching the game, it reminds me in a funny way of like a sort of Jurgen Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. The way that they just go forward at such speed, they don't hang about, and it's instantly in behind for Vardy when he's making those runs all the time. And they were fantastic.
I think his work ethic is being overlooked. I think when you look at the start of that goal, he starts on the edge of the box, and then all of a sudden he's just on the last man. They work it, as you say, Dortmund-esque. They sort of do it 1-2, and then it's forward, and then Vardy's in, and it's literally as quick as that. And I think his work rate gets in these chances. Jack says he thinks the players behind him, players like Mahrez, who are having great seasons. But I think if you work as hard as Jamie Vardy, there aren't many strikers in the Premier League that are willing to do the amount of running he does. Sort of unselfish running, but at the same time, running that constantly makes defenders think. I think one of the best defenders this year has been Chris Smalling, and it wasn't a fault for the goal, but I think it would have been one of Chris Smalling's more difficult games this season against a player like Jamie Vardy, which I think pre-season no one would have said that, which I find fascinating.
Vardy, he doesn't come across as an intelligent human being. You see a few bad things about him in the press and on Facebook. But the way you've just described it, it's like when he runs, he just confuses people and makes them like lack intelligence. It's kind of something so beautiful about that. The fact that running in a straight line, an unintelligent man like confuses even the most intelligent defenders.
He does have, I mean, allegedly, he's said some quite horrible things and does seem like a bit of a dick. But his game intelligence is like incredibly good. And the run that he made to leave for the goal to leave Ashley Young in his wake, and then to sort of angle it in behind Smalling, I think it was. He's done that consistently this season, and the way that he does make those runs across defenders is not something that you're used to. I think teams, maybe more so now than they used to, sort of prepare for the man to play in front and drop off them, hold the ball up and play in front of them. Whereas Vardy doesn't do that. He makes direct runs in behind and between the centre-halves. And it was quite telling that after the game, Van Gaal said that the reason that they went with three at the back for this game was specifically to counter Jamie Vardy. I'm not quite sure why. Not quite sure what the thinking behind it was.
That worked well, didn't it?
Yeah, because it didn't work that well, but it was very telling.
It works great until you decide to put Ashley Young at left, like wing back.
Yeah, it was very telling.
Fine until he does that.
I think when I was trying to think about why he might have done it, possibly to stop those kind of through balls, the fact that you have the two centre halves either side, there's not as much room to play through. But it didn't actually work too well, as we saw. And it's quite telling that Van Gaal made those changes just for Vardy, really.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible achievement. I think you kind of touched on it. He might not be a particularly nice man. I mean, I've not met him, so I can't. It's difficult to comment, isn't it? You just sort of go on what you've heard. But the rise.
You don't want to meet him. Apparently, he listens to the podcast. He said he was going to bang us if.
Well, talking about his football, the rise to be from where he's been at Fleetwood and Halifax, and before that, a team that no one will have probably heard of, to now be setting the record for goals scored game on game in the Premier League is just, I mean, what an achievement.
It's a little bit mad, isn't it?
It is ridiculous. And the thing is now, I tuned in to see if he'd do it. And there aren't many players in world football. I'll tune into a game that I'm kind of not, like Leicester United is still a relatively interesting game based on where they are in the league.
Teams.
But even so, I tuned in thinking I'd quite like to see the moment Jamie Vardy breaks this record. And he delivered, and that's what the top players do. So speaking of top players, you see a striker so prolific on one side. I feel like this season we've not really spoke about Wayne Rooney too much, but him and Martial not having the best time up front for United, and I'd like one of you to decide why that is.
Well, it was interesting that you said the stat about, what was the one about Martial this season?
Martial scored 1 in 16, that's for France and for United in all competitions. He scored 1 goal in his last 16 games, despite scoring 3 in the first 4 appearances. And we kind of touched on it at the time, that it'll be interesting to see how Martial plays because we thought he was playing on instinct. He was playing his own game, he was getting on the pitch, and he was doing what he did best. And now he's kind of been Van Gaal'd, essentially, and he's thinking about it a little bit too much, and he's not getting the goals.
Coached out of that flair that he might have possessed.
With that, you've got Wayne Rooney, who admittedly is stifled in the system they play, but Jack, for a player that's on as much money as he is, he's the captain of Manchester United. I still think Manchester United fans want more, and as an England fan, I certainly want more. We've got a tournament next summer.
I don't know if I want to talk about Rooney, because I feel like we've not talked about him much this season. But during the ForTheFans kind of a year and a half ago at the World Cup, I don't think we were his greatest fans, were we, really, then? I feel like you could say the exact same that you said kind of back at the last World Cup now. Like, he is still kind of seen as England's rose, but he's a rose that is wilting. And I don't want to say has never been at its best, but certainly had more potential that wasn't ever fulfilled.
Jesus. Do you want to get a violin out, or what's going on?
Yeah, go on then.
Do we think he's peaked, Jack?
Yeah, I think he peaked 22, 23. That might seem controversial. Maybe a few years older. But to me, he actually reminds me, and this is going to sound a little bit odd, of a bit like a Michael Owen, just without the injuries. Like the way that he had the world at his feet at such a young age.
Well, you also have to think he's played a hell of a lot of matches at 30. Probably more, as many, if not more, than most people would expect to play in an entire career.
Yeah, he's had his 10-year career from 16 to 26.
Yeah, which is
and then
why
ever since
now
then,
he's
kind of
I think there definitely is something in that, and I do kind of agree that I think really, if you're thinking about Rooney's peak, it might have been going into the 2012 Euros after he had that season of playing up front for United. Obviously, the famous goal against City, but he banged in like 25 goals that season. And I think.
Do you think 2008? Because 2012 England didn't qualify for, did they?
Yes, they did. It was 2008 they didn't qualify for.
No, I'm talking about maybe the 2010, 2011 and 2011-12 seasons, I think, when he was at his best for United.
Okay. So I'm in a weird time vortex when it comes to the Euros.
You're in a weird time vortex, full stop.
I think that
normally
the fact we didn't qualify for one did throw everything off for a few years.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's ruined
like,
my rhythm of a tournament every 2 years. I'm used to having this 2 year cycle of disappointment and excitement, and this 1 year where it didn't happen and the disappointment was before.
We just enjoyed Spain for a year. It was like, oh, Spain are good, aren't they? Let's appreciate Spain. Let's copy what Spain are doing. That was nice. Do we think he has to kind of... I guess Vardy sets a record and we're sat here talking about Rooney, but I think a lot of people are now talking about if Vardy replaces Rooney. Does Rooney have to reinvent himself? Does he have to become something that he's not?
I think it's too late.
I'm not sure
whether... Do you not think
himself.
He can drop into a midfield role? Because I think he probably can, but he doesn't want to.
Possibly. I wonder whether he has it in his locker to do that in terms of his game. I'm not sure. He obviously has great ability and he's able to ping passes left and right. But I'm not sure if he has the sort of the different type of game intelligence that a central midfielder. If you look at someone like Schweinsteiger, he was probably United's best player in that game. He scored a good goal. He was really good as well against Watford. I don't think that I couldn't see Wayne Rooney doing that role, for instance.
I don't think he has the discipline. I don't think he has it within himself to hold a position and kind of do the duties that he needs to do. You see it when he plays up front now. He drops deep to get the ball. He likes to be the focal point of play. And I'm sorry, Wayne, but you can't be the focal point of this United team at this moment in time. And I wonder how long it'll be before he's dropped like Diego Costa.
So who is the focal point of this United team? Because are we saying that?
I mean, that's a bloody good question.
We just spoke about Martial. I mean, there isn't really. I mean, since Robin van Persie left, there hasn't really been a candidate. People thought Falcao would do it. I mean, Falcao's an interesting topic. We could spend a whole episode on Falcao 1 week, but. What is the system for Man United? They're still scoring goals. They're still second in the league, third in the league.
That's the weird thing, isn't it?
It's very confusing. They're not conceding. Chris Smalling, I guess we should talk about a positive thing for Manchester United. That Leicester are flying at the moment. They've gone there and got a draw. Chris Smalling is England's best defender right now.
Oh yeah, he's going to walk into the England side.
But that's nice, because I wouldn't have said that at the pre-season. I thought he was a bit... I've never really rated him. I thought technically he wasn't that good, but...
Even McNair kind of slotted in fairly nicely, I thought. He didn't look out of place.
No, very true, and Ashley Young did.
The problem with Man United is that they're being coached out of any attacking flair that they might have by...
but not so much coached out. It seems such a silly thing to do when you've got some of the players he's got. Like, he's sold players like Di Maria, he's got Mata there. It just seems... so bad. And there's talk of Ronaldo going there. Now, Ronaldo apparently is grossly unhappy with what Benitez is up to at Madrid.
He won't like what's going on at United anymore if he does go there.
Well, if he goes back to United, will that be under Ryan Giggs or whoever else? I'll be like, there's talk now that Man United want Guardiola if he's available. I can't see Ronaldo joining a Louis van Gaal team at this point.
It's really weird with United because I think even their fans are kind of split in a lot of ways. There was I think it was a BBC article I saw a few weeks ago where it was a United fan going off on 606, on the football phone-in, basically saying that he's killing the club.
Other phone-ins are available.
We should do a phone-in sometime. Christmas special phone-in. Let's make it happen, maybe. But no, I guess my issue with this United team is I don't really know what to make of them because as much as we criticise them and say they lack identity, they're not playing great football, there's certainly some United fans that want them out. I mean, if they get top four, it's still going to have been a successful season relative to, I think, their current situation.
I think the interesting point is that their top goal scorer this season is Juan Mata. Do you know how many goals he scored?
Like 3 or 4, maybe?
4 in the league, this is.
Yeah.
Which, for Manchester United, it's just so surprising. Rooney's got 2, Depay's got... or Memphis has got 2 as well. Martial's got 3. Herrera's got 2. And then there's just quite a few guys with 1. It's confusing, but if you're a United fan, you're probably not that disappointed because you're still in there. But it's a discussion a lot of people are having at the moment on whether
I think
they're kind of ready-made for a title or not.
I think the success of Leicester and Vardy going forward has just sort of... I know people will probably say we've spoken about United more than Leicester, but it's seeing them in that context of an informed, really attacking team with a fantastic striker, sort of put into perspective how sort of sluggish they are up front. Go on.
Jack?
Can I just come in? Because there's one thing that I forgot to mention, and it's kind of relative to what we were just talking about. The thing that is driving me up the wall this week so far is people debating if Vardy or Harry Kane should start alongside Rooney.
I've seen this. Well, I think they should both start instead of him. That's what we were getting at.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Sorry, Keno, continue.
No, it's fine. I think that was just.
Throw Keno under the bus there, Jack.
I was bringing it to a close. I mean, I'm going to steal the pun. We'll go from Vards to Pardz down to.
Oh,
London.
wow. I created that pun. I was so ready. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Yes, so Jamie Vardy was there. So from Vards to Pardz we go, as it was current Pardz versus ex-Pardz. I'll stop saying Pardz. Crystal Palace
Doing
5.
these puns is really hard.
Stop it. Crystal Palace 5, Newcastle United 1, despite going 1-0 up through Cisse. Newcastle are a mess, aren't they? That was, we talk about United being confusing. They're not as confusing as Newcastle United are. Spent quite a lot of money in the summer. Mike Ashley says he will not leave until they've won a trophy. I mean,
does the playoff in the Championship count?
Well, people joked about it. Does the playoff final count? Does the Championship count? It's not ideal. I think we'll say that much. How long does Steve McLaren have, Callum? You're a fan of his.
I worry about McLaren. I was prepared to give him a chance again at a big club in the Premier League at Newcastle. But just the way in which he has come out after many of their losses, and how he's sort of what he's put the losses down to as well. It worries me that I think he's having a similar situation that he had with when he was in the England job, in the sense that I don't think he has the personality to sort of approach his group of players in the right way. I mean, he said before the game, before this Palace game, that throughout the week he'd given them the hairdryer treatment at the training ground, and they were fit and ready for the game and really fired up. I can't imagine Steve McLaren giving the hairdryer treatment to
Having
the team.
seen Steve McLaren's hair, we spoke about this recently, relatively recently. Steve McLaren is not a man that should give hair advice. He shouldn't be giving it. If anything, he's seen too much of a hairdryer.
There's not much to hair dry on his face, and his hair.
Yeah.
So
what's annoying me about the Newcastle thing, Keno, is that I don't know if you saw it trending. There was like an "I'm a Celebrity" NUFC. Now, I'm not saying that I created a sort of what would you call it, a reality series around Newcastle United, but I feel like Twitter may be on board. I think this has got legs. Angel of the North is coming, and I'm going to be hosting it. I will be voiceovering Angel of the North.
We can't afford to move the set up north, so we're going to build one out of wood, stick it on a hill.
Right, once again, you've referenced the Angel of the North being built out of wood. I can't believe twice.
Reference. That's going to be a reference that years down the line, new listeners just don't get. Enjoy it while you can.
I feel like now we're just going to mention the Angel of the North, and it's always going to be made out of wood. And people, as you mentioned, in a few years' time, if this is still going, then people are going to be massively confused.
Pessimism.
No, it's Callum I'm worried about. He's got a high-flying politics career to be getting on with.
He can be president and still be here. I mean, prime minister and still be here.
I mean, clearly you're not in that genre. Anyway.
Should we talk about the fact that Newcastle will win in this game? I think they've lost more points from a leading position than any other Premier League team. I think it's like 10 points now. Granted, they were 1-0 up here and they've conceded 2 in 7 minutes following that. But even so, that's just...
It says
for me,
a lot.
That shows a lack of attitude, a lack of... I don't know what the word is.
It says a lot about... McLaren, I think, and continually the results of, and this is the funny thing because, and also about the players, I don't think, me blaming McLaren, I'm not sort of removing responsibility from any of the players at all, because I think players like Colaccini, for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, people claim that he's, like the leader in the dressing room. He hasn't shown that. And the players do have to take a lot of responsibility for not just these last sort of 6 months, but also the last 3 or 4 years in the way that they've performed on and off. But I think the way that, like you say, they've lost so many points from good positions just tells you all you need to know about their attitude and also what they're being told from the sidelines and in the week. Because like I was just saying, McLaren said he'd given them the hairdryer treatment, and I can't imagine him doing that, and I can't imagine him sort of being able to rally a group of players like some of the best managers in the league could. I mean, if you look at someone like Pochettino right now, who's obviously the flavour of the month, and his team's in form, he's a great man manager as well as a tactician. I feel like McLaren, everyone says how good a coach he is, and he's obviously done really good things as a number 2 and also in slightly less pressure-filled leagues. I'm not sure he's got what it takes to lead a team in the way that other good managers can.
I'll tell you who he reminds me of, a bit of Chris Hughton.
Yeah.
A bit. I don't know if Newcastle United fans would agree with that.
Brighton are flying, but I know what you mean. You mean at Newcastle?
He just comes across as, I think, cute and similar, but they both come across as quite nice guys who are quite good coaches. But I don't know if they have much of the natural leader about them.
I think the frustrating thing for Newcastle fans is that you can't. It's almost difficult to blame a manager at this point, because this is now arguably 3 managers in a row where in some games the Newcastle United players do not give a shit. And I think, as a fan, that must be entirely frustrating. We saw it under Pardz.
Sorry, Mrs. Jack.
Sorry, Mrs. Jack. Does Mrs. Jack still listen?
Occasionally.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Mrs. Jack. Have a nice Christmas. Anyway, I do think you've seen it under Pardz a little bit. You saw it under Carver. That was a disgrace as well. But Carver, people came in and said, like, he's a good coach. He's good at his job. But whether he's got the attitude to turn this Newcastle side round, I'm not sure.
Can we just say, speaking of coaches, Phil Neville's gone to Valencia today as a coach.
Hold on. No,
Jack, sorry. Callum.
Just
has he been there since the beginning?
Removing any legitimacy that we have as sort of,
When did that happen? Because I read about that today.
He's been there for 7 years. No, he hasn't really. He's been there a
while.
while.
The season,
he's been there long enough that you should know that. Anyway,
how have I missed this? I swear he's been on Match of the Day since.
Jack, just say less.
Well, yeah.
Don't
say less.
Say
it was
less.
the start of the season. He went as assistant.
Move quickly on, Ben.
Okay.
Congrats on the job, Phil.
Congrats on the job, Phil. It's only part time. He'll probably be removed when the new man comes in.
Have you seen his tan? He's been there for ages.
Phil. Has he got a tan? Has he?
Oh.
Admittedly, I don't keep up on his habits of if he's got a tan or not. But I knew he was at
on
Valencia.
Twitter. South of Spain. He's loving it.
I bet he is.
Was it Phil Neville who came out with a really out of touch, I'd break my son's leg if he did skill or something?
Oh, where are you going here?
Did you see that in Match of the Day a while ago?
Use the line so I can bring it back, please.
I don't want to say you're going off the rails, Jack, but...
Mate, we've derailed, right? Let's put ourselves back on.
To another railway-based
I've got very, very quickly, there's a man that I think is perfect for Newcastle United.
Phil Neville.
All I'm saying, Newcastle fans, Brendan.
Well, I was going to say they need a bit of motivation, a bit of kick up the arse. You know where I'm going with this one.
We all know where you go with this.
Cockney Mafia, Mike Ashley. No, the next best thing actually, Mr. Tim Sherwood, who is out of work at the moment.
Look, do you know what? The terrifying thing about that is?
Sacked?
The terrifying... Very good, Jack. The terrifying thing about that, Kino, is I can genuinely see Tim Sherwood being hired as Newcastle United manager in about February. After whoever else has been in.
It would be the perfect twist to the North East Angel of the North saga.
I'll tell you what, it would be brilliant for the Angel of the North. That would be a lovely moment. Sherwood pops up in his sunglasses and tweed coat. Oh, my word.
They better get season 1 recorded now, so for season 2, Newcastle, Timmy Sherwood comes in, aviators on.
Very simple. MTV, drop Geordie Shore, use all the crew from that, Angel of the North, I'll voice over. This is sorted. This is a done deal, and Twitter is on board. And as long as you've got the backing of Twitter, what can possibly go wrong?
From one shore to another shore, the South Coast, Bournemouth.
Good, I like that. Yes. You can keep that one for yourself. Bournemouth 3, Everton 3. It was late. It was very late. So for those that didn't catch this game, it was 2-2. Then Everton, late doors, Ross Barkley makes it 3-2. The game's over, folks. The final whistle's gone.
The fans are on the pitch. They think it's over.
Do you know what? They were on the pitch. They didn't think it was over. 8 minutes in, Junior Stanislas, that veteran of the Premier League, who feels like he's been around for ages, but is about 24, I think. I don't know how old he is, actually.
He's one of
those players. Oh, there you are, Jack. That's knowledge for you. Scored for Bournemouth. I made it 3-3. A good point for Eddie Howe's men. It's good to see them actually put in quite a good performance and get some reward for it, because I feel like they would have been broken if they'd have lost that.
Joshua King played really well in this game.
You've been slagging him off recently.
I doubted Joshua King, but I kind of feel like now he is one of their players they have to look to, because he is kind of that backup, explosively fast kind of striker, I guess.
Yeah,
they've also terrorised defences.
He's also had no choice but to step up with the way that they've been decimated by injuries. Like, I've put in the running order here, I think there are quite a few teams, that, including the Villa maybe, that would need January to come, and it's a very important month. I think for Bournemouth, depending on how the injuries are progressing with players like Mings and obviously Callum Wilson, I think it's a very, very crucial month for them. Because they have an important decision to make in terms of
haven't they,
whether
they've already said that they're not going to buy any more players.
That's the thing. they can either make that decision and go down and then hope to rebuild, or they could try and capitalise on the year that they've been up and gamble on the fact that the TV money's coming in. I think the Villa might do that because we've got probably a lot more to lose, but it's still an interesting choice for Bournemouth to make because
I think Bournemouth know like this year. It's a bit like when Blackpool came up, although the owners aren't dicks.
Also Burnley. Burnley's a good example of that.
But
can I just say, that is such a... I find that bizarre, frankly. That is such a gamble for a team that comes up from the Championship to go to the Premier League and say, look, we're lucky to be here. In a sense, that's what they're saying. We're lucky to be here.
Exactly.
We're not going to overspend. But it is spoken about so often how difficult it is to get out of the Championship. Like, who predicted Brighton to be top of the league in the Championship right now?
Who predicted Bournemouth to come right up?
You could see the seagulls are flying high.
Well, that's the problem. Sure, you've got your teams that are there kind of every season. Derby and Middlesbrough are like the key examples of that. But even so, it is such a gamble for me. If you go down, sure, you're going to get loads of money. But with that money, who are you going to bring in to get you out of the Championship?
I feel like for some teams, though, it's that long-term security, like especially for a team like Bournemouth who have been so close to the edge.
But how do you even attract players if you have that mindset? If you have this mindset of, well, you know what, if we're not going to spend in January, we're going to go down. Who wants to go to Bournemouth? Who wants to go to Bournemouth?
I think that's
do you know what? Our best option is to finish
Bournemouth,
17th.
Bournemouth spent like 20-odd million in the summer. It's not like they've not spent any money at all to try and stay up.
Did.
No, but the question, the point I'm making is that if you stay in the Premier League this season, you get 90 million guaranteed with TV money next year.
You're still getting 60 million, and you're not gambling on a load of money and having players who come in January as mercenaries.
I think actually there's probably a balance to be struck between those two, because obviously you don't want to do a QPR, and you don't want to basically
I should clarify. I'm playing devil's advocate a bit. I don't think Bournemouth should break the bank to stay in the Premier League. What I'm saying is, though, to say we're going to spend nothing in January is actually what they've said. I've not seen that.
They've said that they're not going to change their spending approach, because there was talk. Okay. I think they've been bought out 20% ownership by some company.
Yes.
So there's been some kind of change of hands of some ownership at the club.
Yeah, an American consortium. But
I'd like to, the thing is, though, in that situation, I'd like to think that if there are some fringe players at the top 5 clubs that are looking for a move to re-energise Bournemouth, that they go in for those players. For them to do nothing in January would be such a shame. What I'm saying, if you've got someone like, for example, Jesse Lingard. Right, he's kind of on the fringe at Manchester United. He's playing a little bit, but if United decide to strengthen, Lingard will fall on the pecking order. I'd quite like to see him go, do you know what, I'm going to go to Bournemouth for 6 months and see how I get on. But I don't know.
I'd be going more realistic. I'd go Charlie Austin.
We'll get on to him later.
Like I say, I mean, to sort of bring that back around, we should probably talk about the game a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see if they do add anyone to replace the players they've lost from injury, because obviously they do have a wage structure and a philosophy in terms of spending, but when it comes to sort of unprecedented circumstances like they've basically had with injuries, where 2 of those players that they did spend that 20 million on have suddenly been cropped for the season, it'll be interesting to see if they do move to replace them. I mean, talking about the game, it was the sort of and Bournemouth, it was kind of the same old for them, and it was very similar to the game against Swansea, and I feel like there is a case for them to strengthen at the back, because it's twice now that they've scored 2-3 goals and they've only got a point, and obviously Swansea were out of form. They were at home to Everton, who aren't great at the back, and you'd expect, really looking at those fixtures, they'd have liked to have got a win from them, and they've come out with 2 draws.
You've highlighted Barkley, Lukaku and Deulofeu, who I think in the last month or so have really come alive. I think a lot was expected of Lukaku and Barkley. Not so much Deulofeu, I think he's still a bit of an unknown quantity, but Barkley and Lukaku have really set the league alight in the last few weeks.
They had really bad seasons last year, and a lot of the blame, I think, fell on the Everton defence. You looked at the Everton defence players like Seamus Coleman, Leighton Baines, Tim Howard. They were considered perhaps, a few seasons ago, certainly kind of, your top 6 probably quality defenders.
It's funny.
They would make up a defence of the top 6. And there was so much blame put on those players last year. But if you look higher up the pitch, I think Lukaku only got 10 goals last year, and I think he's got that many now. It's
funny that you mention Coleman and Baines, because for the last couple of years, like you say, so much has been said about the assists and the attacking sort of intent that they provide. Obviously, Baines has been out all year pretty much, and Coleman's had a bit of a quieter season, and the forwards, like you say, Barkley had a bit of a bad year last year, so did Lukaku. They have taken up the slack that might have been provided by the fullbacks in the last 2 years, maybe. I think the three of them actually, the front and obviously Kone as well, who's playing excellently. That front four could potentially take them to the next sort of level. I think all four of those players on form are good enough to propel them towards, maybe a Europa League place.
Kone's an interesting inclusion in that four, isn't he?
Yeah, because obviously when he first arrived, and I think maybe still now, the fans weren't fully convinced by him. I think they thought that he was similar to Alcaraz in the sense that he was kind of a Wigan like friend in the dressing room that Martinez brought with him. But he's still quite young, and he's not old by any means, and he's turned out, after obviously he had a very bad injury, he's turned out to be a very useful player for them. I think he's actually kind of filled the sort of the Naismith role as like the utility player in that front four. Like he's playing out on the left at the moment, although he is, for all intents and purposes, a number 9. He's playing that really unselfish role and chipping in with goals and assists as well, so he should be commended for that.
Is there a worry for Everton, though, that if they don't get Europa League football this year, there's going to be a few players who want to leave? I know, obviously, they kept hold of John Stones, but so they get to the end of this year, they have the kind of season they're having at the moment. Players like Barkley get to double-figure goals, Lukaku gets 20+. Is there a concern that you can't keep hold of those players, that you can't price them out like you did with John Stones this summer?
It's a very good question. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on it, Ben, but I always think with Everton, everyone always asks this question of them, and they seem to be able to do it for whatever reason. I think maybe Bill Kenwright, as he's a fan, he's slightly more stoic than other chairmen when money's sort of waved at his face. Just look at John Stones, for instance, in the summer. For whatever reason, they have the resilience to hang on to these players a lot longer than other clubs, and I'm just thinking of the Villa as an example of that. For some reason, Everton are able to hold on to players where other clubs can't. I don't know, Ben, what you think?
Well, I'm not sure it'll be a case of players like Barkley and Lukaku wanting to leave, but I think it'll be a bigger case of players, or teams in fact, looking at those players and going, do you know what? We could do with a Ross Barkley, we could do with a Lukaku, and it'll be that sort of test for the Everton, whether they can fend off big bids, and I'm talking like 40 million for like Barkley. Because he's English, because he might score 10 goals this season, because he looks like a prospect, because he could be one of the things best players in the next few years. 40 million, are Everton going to turn that down? I doubt it. That's as good as a takeover for Everton.
Where could you see Barkley going? Because I've got this weird image in my head of United or Arsenal.
Yeah, United. I think United suits him.
I think Man United would suit him perfectly, although I do wonder how he would fit into their current system. But obviously, if he goes there in the next 2 years, it might not be the same system as it is now.
That doesn't matter, does it? United don't care about their system. They just buy and sell players
exactly.
as they please.
Hilariously, when it comes to Lukaku, Chelsea would be quite good.
Well, I was about to say that every season that Lukaku scores goals, I mean, it just looks like more and more of a mistake. I mean, there was a stat this week, obviously, that Lukaku hit 50 goals in the Premier League. I think there was 5 players who had got there before him, and I think 3 of them were Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, and obviously Wayne Rooney. So that's not bad.
It's something to do with him and top flight goals, and he did it quicker than players like Messi and Ronaldo, etc.
Yeah.
I think that was floating around as well.
And it is. I mean, it's kind of quite an unoriginal point to make now about Lukaku, but it does just more and more look like a very big mistake. And you talk about those price tags. I could see, actually, I'd like to see maybe Barkley or Lukaku moving abroad. I mean, we talk about where they'd go to in the Premier League. I'd love to see a player like Ross Barkley maybe play in Spain, or Lukaku.
Dortmund. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Imagine if he went to Dortmund. Oh, my word. I'm going to ignore the running order, gents. You've got Spurs, Chelsea, and Arsenal, Norwich. I actually want to go straight to Keenan. I'm going to go to Villa, and I actually don't want to talk about Villa. Is that all right?
I can do at the end a little bit, but yeah, that's fine.
No, I don't. I'm not interested in Villa.
Remy. Do a 10-word Dear Remy, like a haiku.
Okay. No, I will do. Improved performance. I can't do a haiku because I can't think of the syllables, but
sorry, just
going forward. Quite unlucky. Positive. Need to win soon, please.
Need to win soon, please. 5 points in 15 games or something like that. I want to talk about Watford, Jack. Watford, pre-season, nobody had a clue what to expect. They bought a lot of players from all different places. The Pozzos came in. They took the same sort of ideology and system they've got going at Udinese, and they have strengthened extraordinarily well, it looks like, and adapted to the Premier League like nobody's business. I was actually talking to a few people recently about this, that Watford strike me as a team that not only are going to stay up this year, but look like they're going to have the confidence to, by the end of the season, think, do you know what? Not only are we going to stay in this division, we're going to go up a notch and really push for, well, who knows? Dare I say Europe, Watford fans? I mean, I'm really impressed.
I don't want to go back to the first show of the season where I talked about Igalo and Dini and said that I thought playing with two strikers would be a fantastic addition. Both scored there. Alan Hutton's chipped in as well, friend of the show. Not really friend, he is now.
Friend of the show?
I mean, he got a mention last week, which is,
if you want to bring Brig Allen to the fold, that's fine by me. Bring him in. Right. All right.
Have you got his number? We'll start the Alan Hutton appeal.
Look,
I'm sure it's readily available. It's around Birmingham.
If Alan Hutton wants more mentions from me, he's got to move to Newcastle United. That's all I'm telling you. He's got to get on the edge of the north. But no, Watford. I want Jack, carry on talking about how good Watford are, because I don't think we give them enough credit.
I love Watford. I feel like they have this exciting dynamic around them. I feel like when they came to the Premier League, massive question marks because they brought in, I think, 15 players. I know that, I think it was either this weekend or last weekend, they started with 10 different nationalities in the starting 11. And there was all these question marks racing over, can they do it? Is it the right way to do it? Because it's a pretty bold strategy, which we don't see that often in the Premier League.
It's almost
for a team to sign that many players. It's a very
like
Football Manager-esque thing, where you just go a bit crazy.
I mean, I try not to mention Football Manager in this podcast because it is obviously a football podcast independent of the game.
Sponsored by Football Manager.
But Jack, do you play Football Manager, mate?
Maybe.
Yeah, I do occasionally.
But it is almost, the Watford thing is almost like a save of Football Manager. Like they've brought it's such a foreign strategy to the Premier League, and they're sort of trying to blend a manager and loanees and lots of different players, and they sort of change, but every season. It's a really interesting way to go about it, and it's quite interesting to just see how it sort of plays out in the Premier League.
So far, so good.
I'm just looking at the starting 11 of these two games. I forgot Kieran Richardson existed.
You would have heard about him on my feature. I'll tell you that much.
Was he on the list?
Yeah, he was.
He's truly terrible, but he's had to come back, obviously, because we've lost Amavi. I think if we don't, talking about January transfer windows, I think if we don't sign a left back and potentially someone to play instead of Jordan,
a first team squad, maybe a first team.
I don't want to concern you, Callum. But all three of the previous teams to have 5 points in the Premier League after 14 games to finish rock bottom.
Heard it before.
Who would you rather be? Would you rather be a Swindon Town, a Sunderland, or a QPR at this point? I'll give you the choice.
That's one of the best lines Jack's ever had on ForTheFans. Well, Callum, I want an answer.
Swindon.
Brilliant. Swindon. Good answer as well. I appreciate that answer. No, not looking great for Villa. Watford up to 11th. I said I don't really want to talk about Villa, Keno, but I feel like we should give you another minute just to tell us what happened.
Well, it was quite telling that I chose not to go to this game, even though I live 20 minutes away. And it was raining, and I knew the football would be shit. And we actually scored some goals. But
Are you a season ticket holder?
Yes, but I did.
That
you
says a
didn't
lot,
go
Jack,
to this
to be fair.
game.
That says a lot.
Well,
I wanted to clarify for the listeners.
I have a lot of uni work in, so I didn't fancy it. I'll say that.
I prefer the story of they're shit. I didn't want to go. To I've got other things.
Yeah,
to do.
I know he's back now.
I've seen my fair share of shit over the last 5 years, but I think the performance was marginally improved. Obviously, we scored 2 goals. Ayu's goal was great. He needs a bit more confidence. To an extent, I think too. Obviously, the Hutton own goal was just ridiculous. He's a ridiculous person, but also the Dini goal. There was an element of good fortune to that. The way that the deflection sort of teed him up for a running header, and obviously he had the run onto the ball, whereas Clark was standing start. So that was a little bit unfortunate. We looked like we had a little bit more intent going forward, so it was slightly more positive. I think. You mentioned the 5 points. It's like a 6 point. I think we're 5 points from safety still. So, I mean, it's not unrecoverable. 7. Either way, it's still not unrecoverable.
Sorry.
You're 22 off the top 4, Keno, so I think that dream might be over, mate.
I mean, it's not even Christmas yet, but I don't think it's unrecoverable. No. It was a slightly improved performance, but obviously it's still bad. We'll have to see.
I was following this game online. I started getting a little bit of a panic attack where I heard Aurelio Gomez had been subbed off, but he's fine. So, Aurelio, just want to send our regards on to you. He gets a lot of mentions in this podcast, doesn't he, Aurelio Gomez?
I will say, if you've been listening for waiting for this podcast to find out an update on Aurelio Gomez, I'm so sorry we've waited until 54 minutes into the show. Villa, Keno, I think he'll be bottom at Christmas, mate.
It seems
Is that a worry?
way.
Yeah, Southampton, Arsenal, and then Newcastle away on the 19th.
I just think
that's the game before Christmas.
We play like the 3 of the bottom 4 coming up. I'll judge us after the new year, when Guard's had a little bit more time to work with the players. It's difficult because our circumstances are slightly different to a team. I mean, you mentioned like the Swindons and the Derbys. We're in a slightly different position than the fact that we've just changed our manager, hopefully for the better. And there's obviously talent there. It'll just take a little while yet. Like I say, we're slightly improved, but we're still bottom of the league. So
I almost want you to get to kind of February and then just bring back Tim. Can you imagine?
I mean, dear Brendan, Brendan.
Right now, the show with things like a bad dream, with like one sort of little good moment of the FA Cup. So I just don't really want to.
What, the final or the semi?
The semi.
Oh,
Let's move on, Ben. Arsenal injuries. They've got lots.
Arsenal have got loads of injuries, and it doesn't help when Ryan Bennett is pushing.
I had a great tweet about this
into a camera. Oh, go on. What was it?
It was the one with regards to. I thought it was a bit like Robot Wars, watching Ryan Bennett push Sanchez into a pit.
Did that tweet do well? Because I liked it a lot.
Mate, it didn't do well. I was upset. I even mentioned the fact that we should have had Jonathan Pearce doing the commentary. It would have been great.
I think I liked that tweet to prove that I really did enjoy it.
I saw you like it. I'm like, Ben, appreciate it. It's going to go viral. This is the one. No.
Sorry, mate.
I mean, the game was a little bit of a non-event, but the big story, and this is a stat I saw earlier, which I couldn't believe, and it is actually true. Only Joel Campbell and Petr Cech of Arsenal's entire first team 25-man or whatever it is squad, they are the only 2 who have not had like a spell with injury this year at the team. Only Joel Campbell and Petr Cech.
When I read that in your notes, I could not believe that was the thing.
And you have to ask the question, like, no other team. Yeah, obviously every team has injuries, and we've just spoken about Bournemouth, who have been unlucky as anyone. No one seems to have the frequency of injuries that Arsenal do. I can't.
At what point do the physios start getting paid more than Wenger? Because they must be working overtime at the moment.
How many have they got? How many physios do Arsenal
I like to think they've got their own dedicated hospital.
Yeah,
it does raise the question though. What are they doing differently that's causing them? Because it's just it happens a lot. And obviously the thing about Sanchez was interesting because he did mention before the game to Wenger apparently that he was a bit tight in the hammies, and then they ended up going.
It during the week. It was like it was a story during the week that he was kind of hit and miss. It was like 50-50, and they risked him against Norwich, which granted he did get an assist for the Arsenal goal. But it's still a weird one, isn't it? You still expect, if you're Wenger, certainly if you're an Arsenal fan, to beat a Norwich City side away from home without Sanchez.
And
that start Lewis Grabban up front on his own. Yeah, I agree with you, Jack.
He did
I
score.
think Arsenal should expect to. Well, I know he scored, but did you see the defending? That was comical.
Great, was it?
Koscielny went off and Gabriel just, oh dearie me.
That's the thing, Koscielny went off. Cazorla, I think, might have an injury after that game as well.
Coquelin's out.
I mean, Ramirez is out. Should we just list them all? And you got Wilshere.
Same old, well, the thing is, it's same old, isn't it, for Arsenal? No one's shocked by this.
I feel like a few weeks ago we talked about it. I feel like we talked about it again and again and again, but there was kind of the question, are they title contenders? And the big question is always their squad depth and having the core of players who are susceptible for injuries. Is that the way to go? And it's
we agreed their starting 11 could win the Premier League, but their squad can't. And that's the situation, isn't it?
Often it's not football reasons why Arsenal don't win the league. It's things like this. Which is why,
to be fair, in this game, Norwich outplayed Arsenal football-wise.
Yeah, no, Norwich. They and you see this a lot actually when Arsenal go away to teams like Norwich. I think Stoke kind of bucked the trend with this a few years back under Pulis, who loves to get a result against Wenger. But Norwich sort of did the classic thing that you want to do when you play Arsenal, and as they gave them very little time on the ball, they defended very resolutely and were physical and direct, and it worked quite well, and probably played a part in getting, like you say, Sanchez coming off. And it's just the fact that they can never weather those kind of matches and sustain it across the season. Like you say, their first 11 could beat any team in the league, but they can't keep it going.
Yeah, we're going to whiz through the final 4 games because they were apart from the City game, which had quite a few goals, not much happened. Zarate scored a very nice free kick for West Ham, and then Winston Reid scored an own goal, which is annoying because he's in my fantasy team. So that was 1-1. A decent away point for West Brom, I would say.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Can we just say Arsenal? Arsenal didn't win this month. 2 points this month. There's a little fact for you. I'd be worried.
James Milner penalty, saw Liverpool win 1-0 against Swansea. No, I don't think it was either.
It definitely wasn't. I saw it when never a pen, but I'm not complaining.
My new attitude on Twitter, though, Jack, is that when Liverpool get decisions and it's not really just, I think my tweet was something like, Liverpool penalty, very harsh, don't care. So I feel
like you could just have that like bound to a key on your keyboard for every other week.
Honestly, don't care. I mean, Liverpool can take every bit of luck they can get. I'll take it. I'm not bothered at all. Manchester City 3, Southampton 1. England's future Fabian Delph scoring a goal there, Callum.
Everything happened at once in terms of that other weekend, you know.
De Bruyne getting a goal and Kolarov getting a goal. Shane Long scored for Southampton. I actually thought Southampton were going to get back into it because I watched a bit of that game. But Kolarov scored in the 69th minute, and that was kind of that, really. Aguero went off injured.
Interesting about Aguero, I don't know how much news has come out about his injury, but it's bad, isn't it, that he's already off again?
Yeah. Do you think they'll buy a striker in January? I think they should.
Austin.
They should do.
Charlie Austin, bloody hell! Every time.
I think you should get a little soundboard just to press the key that says Charlie Austin, and you can.
That might save me some effort.
Jack, mate, I've said it before. I'll say it again. The only way Charlie Austin gets more time on this podcast is if he moves to Newcastle United and becomes part of Angel of the North. That's all he's got to do.
What's going to happen is it's going to be a shock deal on deadline day. Richard Wright is going to be offered in a swap for Charlie Austin for homegrown player rules, and it's going to happen. Can I just quickly show you a picture? You know, we sort of mocked Villa's formation last week. Based on the sort of average positions. I did tweet it out last week, and I got a few people reply to me going, "What is that?" Would you like that's Southampton's against City again? Difficult to talk about. If one of you can describe it, it looks a bit like a seagull, a silhouette of a seagull, and then two dots that are being dropped.
It looks like a
side.
seagull. I was thinking maybe like a mushroom, sort of across all across the centre, the middle of the pitch. Really, there's no striker visible.
You have to tweet out again, mate.
You'll have to put it in the video as well on YouTube and.
You can that's editing. You can't be doing that.
That's too much effort.
Sunderland got a late win against Stoke. Stoke are a funny team. Sunderland move out of the bottom three.
It's happening. The Allardyce effect.
Look, Pardz thinks he's got that England job wrapped up, but little did he know that Big Sam has got his eyes on the prize.
It cannot be stopped. It cannot be changed. It is the Sam Allardyce
They'll stay
effect.
up. They're staying up. They're definitely staying up. Sunderland fans, I'm sorry for what we said at the start of the season, but Sam Allardyce has got in there.
Watmore scored again for them here. Like the youngster who's kind of broken into their team this year. He's got a few goals off the bench.
He is.
I like that.
And actually, I watched a little bit of this game. He's really impressive. Actually, the way that he reminds me actually of when Callum McManaman had that little period for Wigan. When he sort of inspired.
Well, you've just cursed him now, haven't you?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you compared him to Callum McManaman.
I mean,
that's very weird.
If any career winds up playing for Pulis, then you've hit a bit of a rock. But he is like the sort of ace in the pack for Sunderland. Obviously, he's a local lad, and it's really up for the fight, which is probably what they've been missing. So, yeah.
And that, gents, pretty much brings us to the end of our little roundup of the games. I feel like we've done more of a sort of what happens next for these teams rather than talking about the games. I quite like that, actually. I think that's a better way of doing it.
It's not. I feel like if you're just analysing what went on in the 90 minutes, you're not really giving a lot of insight, are you?
No. Jack, can I say thank you for tweeting out the picture? I'll just give a clue for when we record, but I appreciate the fact you've just tweeted out the picture.
JAKZEH.
All right,
Jack.
No need. Absolutely no need.
#TeamFollowBack.
Speaking of Twitter, thank you, Jack. Callum, have you got any important questions for us to answer?
Whether they're important or not is questionable, but whether we're going to talk about them is not, because yes, we are.
I can see one, and we definitely are.
First question comes from Peter Whitehead, who asks, at For The Fans Show, could you bring back the Charlie... I don't really want to say it. Could you bring back the Charlie Austin appeal for the January transfer window? Jack.
Peter Whitehead. I feel like there's one man with an agenda on this podcast.
I brought it back for Christmas, never mind January.
I think Charlie Austin is not just for Christmas, Jack. He's for all year, and I feel like you're taking advantage of his good nature. We will do our best to get the Charlie Austin campaign off the ground again. I feel like Jack started in November, but we'll see. If
he comes to the Premier League in January and scores 15 goals, I'm taking credit. I'm becoming his agent.
The best situation for all of us here is if he goes to Villa, I think. because then we can monitor him far closer.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll have on the ground report of Callum Keane.
It'll be down to Callum to get a picture of him with Charlie Austin.
Like I did with Mr. Schweinsteiger, I will get a
Exactly
selfie
that.
with Charlie Austin.
I've got an idea.
I promise.
If we get a contract,
I promise you.
we'll
I'm
get a
saying it
contract,
now.
fold it up, and ask for his signature, and
I am
trick him
saying
into
it
signing
now.
with us.
If Charlie Austin signs for Villa in January, I will secure a photo with him for the show on the display
Can
And
you
pictures.
get his
potentially
name on the back
hold-
of your kit.
Can you potentially hold a little For the Fans logo and get him to sign it?
If
and then
if
you
it's
can give it
like
away?
if I'm going there with with that in mind, then yes, I will. I will
Brilliant.
See,
try.
what I was
Excellent.
thinking was get a sheet
Oh,
of paper,
God.
we'll fill in a contract, then trick him into signing it, and he's with our agency then.
And he's our fourth member of
Exactly.
the For the Fans show.
Just don't tell him.
Callum,
Next-
let's get off this Charlie Austin
Yeah,
bollocks.
quickly.
Danny Ings,
This
Danny
is
Ings,
quite an
anyone?
interesting one because
Stop this.
this is quite an interesting one as we touch on the game too much. At Vigs on Twitter says at ForTheFans show, how much is Klopp changing Liverpool? Obviously it was it was a slower game today, but
Yeah.
Yesterday.
More than anybody would like to admit, I think. I think everyone's kind of saying he can't produce wonders. He is doing. He's doing some things with that squad that Brendan Rodgers made us believe weren't possible. Emre Can is really good at football, as is Roberto Firmino. And I tweeted out, speaking of the way he changed it, and give Rodgers a bit of credit, I guess, or the transfer committee. They brought Firmino in. Liverpool in the last 5 years have lacked very good footballers, and Roberto Firmino is a very good footballer.
I could list off some great footballers. Charlie Adam, John Joe Shelby,
I thought you were
Someone
going to say
Jay
someone else.
Spearing.
The thing is, someone tweeted me saying, hang on, wasn't Suarez a top quality addition? I was like, yeah, but to have one is not the same as having
Andy Carroll.
lots of them. Well, I actually, Jack, it's funny you mention all these
Ali
players. So
Sissoko.
I created a list, actually, of players that weren't potentially very good. Shelby, Spearing, Shelby at the time, not like ready-made. So Shelby, Spearing, Adam Downing, Carroll, Cole, Aspas, Asayidi, etc.
And
would
I
be
don't
in that
remember him
bracket.
playing for them.
So to answer your question, yes, Jurgen Klopp has changed the way Liverpool play. It's very exciting. Please, let's not talk about it, though, until we're in the Champions League final, and then we'll discuss it. Is that all right with everyone?
Right, so next year.
Someone's replied to you, Jacob, in reference to your picture, which I quite like.
Excellent.
They just put, where'd you get these? Which I quite like as a response.
It's not even worth
Callum,
a shout out, is it? Really?
No, Mr. Kingy, thank you.
James
Question?
Smith at Desi Nev, friend of the show, I think we can say.
Friend of the show,
At
Desi Nev.
Desi Nev says, when do you think Villa will win a game? When will Spurs lose one? I'm
Should we
not
take
looking
bets
at.
on when both of those will happen in one weekend?
Well, when do they play each other?
It's a good
That's
question.
what I'm thinking.
What will happen first? Us winning a game or Spurs losing one? I reckon we might have won a game before the turn of the year. I think.
I mean, that's a pretty brave prediction.
Oh, actually,
Tottenham have got quite a good... Well, actually, no, because to be fair, actually, Villa do play Newcastle.
we've got.
So if there's a game that they could potentially win, you don't play Tottenham, Callum, and this is worrying for you,
I don't wanna
until
think about
March the
this.
12th. So March the 12th, if that's the next time that happens, that is not good for you. And Tottenham might be top of the league at that point, which could be dangerous.
I mean,
and you will
if-
definitely be bottom.
If both our form continues until the 12th of March, Spurs will be well ahead. But yeah,
Yeah, Spurs will have won the league by
and
March.
we'll still be in single figures. But yeah,
Yeah, you will. Tim Sherwood will be at the helm though, and it will be an emotional time as Tottenham turn up at Villa Park. It'll be lovely. To answer seriously, I think Villa are more likely to win before Tottenham lose because Tottenham are in really good form.
Yeah.
So,
Villa are going to beat Arsenal in 2 weeks.
thank you for that prediction.
thankfully I
I'll
won't
using
be
that.
there for that one either. So that's good.
Well,
I'm off
supporting
to
Callum Keane, everyone.
I'm off to
Have we
Berlin.
got-
He's
Can
a
we have
Bayern
one
Munich
more-
glory supporter.
Actually, why are you off to Berlin for?
Just for a holiday.
Ah,
Just
very
off
nice,
mate.
Berlin.
Saturday
Man
to
of culture.
Saturday to Tuesday.
Can we get a final question?
I mean, I did pick one. It says, "How is Callum's depression going?" I feel like it was a sort of an opportunity for me to kind of use this as therapy. But I'll just say,
I mean, it's not laughing. Depression's a serious topic.
it is
but
a
how
very
are you
serious
getting on,
topic.
Callum?
And the Villa have had me depressed, but no, it's getting better.
Can you
Good.
get Lewandowski's
It-
signature
A message
for
of
fans
hope.
next week?
A message of hope at the end of the show.
Can you get Lewandowski?
Well, we'll take
He's
him
not-
over. I'm sorry, Charlie, but if we can get
He's going
Lewandowski,
to
we've got to
Germany.
aim high.
If it wasn't,
You can't just name players in Germany.
if Munich wasn't about like 500 miles from Berlin, yes, I would. But
Oh yeah, you're in Berlin.
logistically, it's quite difficult.
Who plays for Hertha these days?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I was trying
now.
to think of that. I know Adrian Ramos did for him. He's now at Dortmund.
Just go and see Royce. I think
Again,
I know where he lives. I'll give you his
distance.
house. You can go for a coffee.
Solomon Kalou.
No,
Solomon
I'd take him.
Kalou.
I mean, he's no Charlie Austin, but
John Brooks, the American. Get him in. Callum, all I'll say is if you do see a Hertha Berlin player just strolling round, make sure you
I'll make sure. Yeah.
make sure you get him.
what you need to do is you need to get your
Soccer.
phone out and get him to say into his mic, into your mic and record it. You're watching For the Fans. And
Hello.
we'll stick it at the start of the podcast.
Or get him to say you've been watching Angel of the North.
Or just find any
Amazing.
German guy and get him to say it, and then we'll claim it's one of the German footballers from Hertha Berlin. Sorted.
Okay, sure. I mean, Nicholas Stark, thanks for appearing on next week's show. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end. You can find us on Twitter at ForTheFansShow, ForTheFansShow.com. We're also on YouTube and iTunes. You can find us on both of those platforms.
Give
if you
us a
type in
review
For
on
the
iTunes.
Fans Show. We actually had a
got some
review,
reviews.
gents.
We did.
Things are looking up for us. He said.
What were
top
they?
stuff.
I tell you what, if you give us a review, we'll give you a shout out at the end. I think one was like,
If it's a good
I
review,
promise.
if it's a bad
I'll tell you
review-
now. No, it can be any sort of review. I'll read out any review. I promise. Whatever you write, as long as you leave a 5-star rating, we'll read it out. You can leave a 5-star rating and slag us off. You
Yep.
still get it read out. Easy as that. So, boys, do you want to say goodbye? Jack, Keno, in that order.
Thank you for watching at Jack Ze on Twitter. Appreciate
This is
it.
This is a weird marketing
this is just
campaign you've got going on.
this is just a vehicle for Jack's self-promotion.
Follow me, Charlie.
I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want any more.
He still
of
wants that Twitter to go. He wants that tweet to go viral. Anyway, I'll end this considering Jack's trying to
Keno, I was
hijack
allowed
it.
to say goodbye now. You've had your moment, Callum. I've taken
It's
it
my.
away from you.
It's my last one for a couple of weeks, but I'll see you guys close to Christmas.
Good. With love, with care, from me, Dr. Benji, from all of us here at For the Fan Show. We'll see you again soon. From me, Dr. Benji, with love, with care. Goodbye.
You said that twice.
Do you want to do some more of the quiz?
Fuck off.
No, we'll save it for a Christmas special.
Can we do one more?
Go on then. This
We
is
can
just
put this
going
in
at the
after
end.
the
I'm
jingle.
gonna
Have we
all the
we
jing- no,
finished now?
No, the jingle's playing at this point, so it's now fading
Oh,
out
okay.
now. Now
Fine.
it's faded out, and now we continue on through it.
I have a wicked left foot.
Oh, I know who it is. Kieran Richardson.
Incorrect.
Oh.
He became.
No one's ever said that.
I
about
became
Kieran
a
Richardson.
Callum. If you get this, you win it all.
All
Okay.
right. Do it.
I became a father for the first time on the 1st of May 2008 when my wife Kathy gave birth to a baby boy named Charlie. We then had a second child, Zach David Blank, on the 18th of April 2011. My cousin, ice hockey player Sean Thornton,
Stuart Downing.
didn't do anything. Nah, the correct answer is Chris Brunt.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
How
I'm
did
sure
you
there were
not-
listeners. I'm sure there were listeners at home that had that.
If you
which
got
is
to
a
this
shame.
point, either in the video, or on iTunes, just tweet or leave us a comment saying Chris Brunt. Do
Yeah,
that.
if you got Chris Brunt,
Should we leave them
congratulations.
with a question and see if anyone is listening?
Maybe do you want me to give some clues?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on then.
For
Give
ne-
us 5 clues.
That could be
for
a
next
continuing
week.
thing. If we do this.
What, at the end of every week?
Yeah, and we could leave a little quiz for the one
We
little
just
question.
ignore the outro. That just plays through, and we just continue talking after Ben says goodbye.
All right, sure. What a show! Has this gone off the rails a bit?
This is a
boys?
rescheduled
No.
ending.
Okay, the clue is I have played for Hungerford Town.
Oh, I know who it is.
Well, don't say it.
No, well, don't say it, obviously. I wear the number 9 for my team. I am 26 years of age. I am yet to be capped by England.
Ooh, that just put a spanner in the works of many people who thought it was Jamie Vardy.
I married my long-term partner, Parker, who I have a daughter with. Avabella is her name, and she was born in summer of 2015. Get your guesses in now.
I think I know.
I definitely
Well,
know. I knew after the first clue.
Why am I not surprised?
I'm
for the
well giddy
third-
about that.
For the third time, with love, with care, from me, Dr. Benji, for the Fans Show. Goodbye.